Oh, excuse me. Well, good evening. Happy Stampers. How is everybody? Welcome to my Facebook viewers and welcome to my YouTube viewers. This is a live tonight, and I decided to come on and bring you guys a sneak peek of the Waves of Inspiration stamp set and the Wave dies. And this is part of the collection that's going to be coming out in March. Now, it's going to be a sneak peek. The stamp set, which looks like this, will be carried over, or it will be found in the 2022 to 2023 annual catalog, as well as these gorgeous dies in here. Now, you may have seen my unboxing video last week. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to bring you guys a sneak peek of a card. We also have some gorgeous designer series paper. I will show you that in a minute. And some specialty foils. These are the blue foils. We will open that pack up, as well as the rhinestone gems. Now, the rhinestone gems are Coastal Cabana and Pacific Point, and a little color in between. So those are great also. But this also coordinates with some other things that you can get in our mini catalog. And ooh, I thought I had one sitting here. Yes, I do. And I am talking about the sea glass gems and our Pebble Gems. And I will show you those in just a second when I turn the camera down. So don't forget to say hi as you come on and let me know where you're coming from, okay? I am doing this through StreamYard, so you will have to give it permission. And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome to all of you also, and make sure you subscribe to my channel and click on that little bell so you are alerted every time I come on. So I'm going to change my camera around very quickly here, and let's see what we have. So I was talking about the Pebble Gems and the faux sea glass shapes, and those are right now in the January to June mini catalog. And on page 87, you will find them. So these are the pebbles, and these are the faux sea glass. We're not going to use those tonight. I don't think. I may. I have an idea for this step card that I'm doing tonight. And I just think that those coordinate with this. And I don't know if those will be carried over to the next catalog. So I recommend you grabbing a couple packs of those because I think if you like the beachy things, I love the ocean and the beach. So you would probably use those quite a bit. So here are our blue specialty foils. This one is a Coastal Cabana. Oh, you can see the reflection of me on there, and as well as my camera. Oh my gosh, my webcam. And then we have a silver. These are all so gorgeous. They are thick, but not too thick. They will stand up. But look at that. And then the Pacific Point, or I think they call it Night of Navy. But I think, yeah, it is definitely Night of Navy. I've got Pacific Point next to it, and it's definitely not Pacific Point. But these are gorgeous. Gorgeous, and they remind me of the beach. So our designer series paper, you're going to notice that I've got some out. I'm going to show you a card in the end that I created for a swap that I'm doing. But these were made by a concept artist by pouring paint onto a flat surface and letting it do its thing. So I don't know if you've watched any of the artists do that. I'm fascinated by it. And here are some yellows. And here, look at, you've got Granny Apple Green and Pacific Point, Coastal Cabana, Night of Navy in here. Just gorgeous, gorgeous colors. I'm going to go ahead, and the back of that one, I forgot to show you, is Daffodil Delight. I think this is, forget the colors, Calypso Coral. Of course, I should have known that. Or it could even be it's more petal pink than Calypso Coral. This next one does have some Calypso Coral in it. So look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? I mean, I can just picture this as seashells. If you have any of our sea stamp sets, this will also go with those. We have the Friends like Friends are like treasures, I think. Friends are like seashells. Stamp set. Think of using this paper with that too. Now the paper and the foil pieces. Look at this one. Oh my gosh. And oh, this side. This one kind of reminds me of the ocean meeting regular water or river water. What do they call it? Bracking or something like that. When the ocean meets like spring waters and natural river waters. This reminds me of the water meeting the beach. And oh my gosh, this is just like the waves of the ocean. So as you can see, this is like a gorgeous, gorgeous paper. And another blues. And this also this reminds me of where it foams up on the shore and you get all that foam in there. That's what this page reminds me of. But we are going to be using Coastal Cabana as our base today. So I definitely am going to go towards something that has the lighter shades in them. This one could even be, so that is, as you can see, it's quite a few of the papers, this one, and I think the back of this one could also be. I use this one for my swaps. So we're taking one out. I'm also using Pacific Point. So I've taken some of those out. So this is going to be our colors for our step card. I'm leaning towards this one right here. I didn't want to go with Night of Navy. I thought that was a little bit too heavy. We could also use this one here. So we're going to keep those two out. Now, with the dies, I do recommend using our self-adhesive sheets. I am not going to be using them tonight, though. I'm going to be using liquid glue, and that's because I couldn't find my adhesive sheets. So bad for me. I know I have them, and I put them in a place where I wouldn't forget. So when I did this live, I know where they were at. And, I'm sure none of you guys ever do that. So Zana, you were asking what the papers are. These are papers that are going to be coming out in March. If you are a demonstrator, you could actually order these now. They're the Waves of the Ocean 12 by 12 designer series paper, and the number is 15992. So they can't be ordered until next week. Okay, on the 2nd. But aren't they gorgeous? I'm a beachy person. I love the beach. I try to get there as often as I can. I love the ocean. I in particular love the Caribbean area. I love the colors, and then I do love the colors of the ocean in Alaska, because it is amazing. The colors are the same, but because of what's underneath them and the temperature of the water, they are so different, but yet they're so much alike. Okay, so we're going to start with this, and we're going to start by folding and scoring our paper here. I'm going to grab that, and I just noticed that my embossing tool is not here. I am sorry for the noise. That is my dogs running up and down. And I just had this. Oh, here it is. I just had the tool. So I've cut my cardstock base at 4 1/4 by 11. And I'm going to score it at 5.5 inches. Okay. And I'm going to start at the other end. So we're at 11 inches. I know I want my first step to be 1 inch. So that is going to be facing down. So I know, so I'm scoring it at 10 inches. I know that I'm going to have to score it at 1 inch again because I want that step to be even. So I have between 9 and 5.5. So that is 1, 2, 3.5 inches. So I need to divide that in half. So I know that 1.5 inch is 3, and we have 3.5. So I need to go another 1/4 inch. So at going from this side out, it's at 7 1/4. But I'm going to show you something easier. I could have taken it on my score tool, started over here at 1 inch, at 2 inch, at 5.5 inches, and then gone up 1.5. So I'm going to 3 1/4 and scoring that. Okay, so your steps can be whatever size you want. I know what you have to think about though is you're going to fold this up and then it's going to fold down, and you want that to be even so that they both hit the tabletop or the surface at the same part. And then you've got this, and you want that to be even. So that was at 1 inch. Okay, so our card is going to step out like this and sit here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder to burnish those folds because we want those folds good and burnished. Okay, turn it this way, burnish that fold, burnish this one, fold it this way, and burnish it again. And go back and forth a couple times, and I am pressing rather hard. So that's my step. You're going to see that it's a little bit tighter now. So it can stand up just like that. Okay, now we're going to decorate these. So I want to decorate this in the front. And yes, I want a little bit of the wave. So I'm going to go into my stamp set, and I have my wave. And let's open this up right here. And so I'm going to want my wave to be on here. And it is going to be on the first, right? But I only want to stamp it on this first piece. So I am going to unfold this. Okay, and then I'm going to take some masking because I do not want it on these other pieces yet. So I just want to stamp it on that bottom piece. Let me grab another Post-it note and put it right here. Okay, now we have so many choices on the colors that we could stamp this in. I'm going to grab the, oh, this isn't quite big enough. Okay, this is, I don't have my largest block here. You could use the Stamparatus, but I know that this section right here is going to be, we're only going 4 1/4, so I don't need the entire piece on there. Okay, so I'm trying to think now because I need to bring this up. I'm going to want it to bring it up higher. So I am going to go ahead and stamp this, and I am going to stamp it in Coastal Cabana. I'm debating here. Oh my gosh, Becky, it's cold in Pittsburgh. Oh my God, it's cold here in the Chicagoland area also. And I am sure that it is cold up in Ontario by Janet. Zana, what is it like by you in the UK? I'd like to welcome you. I have not seen you in a while. I am going to, stamp this, but I do need a piece of scrap paper underneath my stamping. So we just use this. I'm going to go ahead, ink this up, line this up to my paper, and making sure I'm over the edge a little bit and pressing. Now this is a big stamp, so I'm going to give you a hint. If your hands get sore from stamping, especially big images like this, or you have issues, this is just a dry erase board eraser. And I use this with my Stamparatus all the time, but I also use this for big stamps like this. And now look at that. We've got that wave motion going. Okay, and what that's going to look like when it's pulled up like this is just like that. Okay, but now the next one, I am going to want to have, a piece of Coastal Cabana. I had a piece here, but it seems that, sorry, it was part of a card. So I am grabbing another piece. Oops, I'm going to have to go over to my stash. So hang on just a second. There we go. And I want this piece. I'm doing the cutting too on here because some of you have said that you would like to see how I cut and come up with my cards. So tonight I'm doing all my cutting, and I do use our paper trimmer, which I love. Now we remember it was at 1 3/4 we know we have, but I know that this goes up higher. So what I want to do is I want to measure the height of this wave. So I'm just going to take the stamp and put it on there, and it's about 2.5. So I feel that 2 3/4 would be enough, but I am cutting it at 3 inches. I want to make sure that I don't pull myself short for that. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to ink up our stamp again. Now you might want to take your ink pad and ink it up this way. It is totally up to you. Okay, so I am going all the way across on that one. And I am going to stamp this right on here. I'm looking at the bottom because we do have just a little bit of a space on the bottom where the stamp does not reach. So you could trim that part of the stamp off if you need to, but I just know that I need to be off my paper about 1/8 of an inch. And there we go. There's that wave again. Cool, huh? We're not done yet though. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my dies. And we have these dies here that we're going to overlay on top of this. But I need to cut this out by hand because all the other dies have cutouts. And I don't quite want to cut it out. Well, you'll see. So I'm just going to take my paper snips because I want this as the base. And I'm just going to cut right around this image. Okay, and that's just because of the type of card I'm making, and there's nothing wrong with cutting it out. And I just want to go up just a little bit. And then at the end of the wave, I don't want to cut straight across. I actually want to go in and out a little bit. And this would have been easier if I did it after I trimmed it. And then I'm going to go around the outside of the wave. Okay. And just let it roll right over. And you could go up and down like this if you wanted. Kind of make it wiggly because your waves aren't perfectly straight as they curl over. They do look like it, you know. How many, just wondering, how many of you surf? Let me know if you surf. You know, surfing is one thing that I've always wanted to do, but I've never done. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason being is I'm just trimming this off just a little bit where I didn't stamp it all the way to the corner. It's because I don't like water in my nose and I don't like water in my eyes. So this is actually going to be placed here, and we can place it at different heights once we figure all this out. So what we're going to do here is I do want to cut out of my designer series paper one of the dies. And I am just looking here. I have this one, but I don't think it's going to be long enough. Now, these two are this way, but they do layer on top of one another. There we go. Okay, they are a little bit different and they do layer on top, and they're meant to layer on one on top of the other. This one, you want to put them together, and this one is narrower, so that one would go on the top. And then this one would go on the bottom. So we know we need it 4 1/4 wide. This piece is only 4 inches wide. So I know that I'm going to need a wider piece. So I am going to be doing my water. So I know I'm going to need about 3 inches. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut 3 inches off of this one here. So because I want both colors in there. I mean, I am so happy that Stampin' Up! Came out with this paper, because I have been trying to think how I could do this with our inks and get this effect. And, you know, leave it to Stampin' Up! To do it. So now we're going to take our die, and we're just going to kind of look at these parts are going to be cut out. They're going to be thin lines. So what do we want those lines? Do we want more white in there? Or do we want more blues in there? I am going to do my top layer with the Coastal Cabana. So I am thinking that I actually want some of the darker in there. And I'm not going to get much dark here. I think I'm going to go with this side right here. Okay, so let me get my cut and emboss machine. And I am going to use my bigger one. Instead of my small. So we tonight are going to be using platform 1, platform 2, and 2 of platform 3s. So I am going to put this on there. I'm going to move this so you can see what I'm doing. Let's do it this way. Let's get our die and our paper on here. And, you know, you could just use a solid paper here. It'd be totally up to you. I'm going to go right along that edge. I do need to put my cutting plate underneath, though, before I start. Oh, wouldn't that be a disaster? I would be cutting that plate number 2. That wouldn't be good. Now, I also teach not running this straight through. So we do want this at an angle. So I'm bringing this top corner up here. Let me see if I can get this in. There we go. To this edge. And then I'm going to line this up to the other edge. Not quite. I just need to make sure the entire thing is underneath so that when I run it through, as far as I'm running it through, ends up being inside the width of my platforms. So we're going to go ahead. Let's put this on. Let's put it right down there. And I guess I could, you know, I could have used, if I found it, like I said, it'd be great if I had my adhesive sheets. And I think that the reason why I can't find them, I think I used them as a giveaway one night. So we have all those pieces just like that. And look, see, so we've got some dark, we got some light in there. I don't know if I can figure out something to do with these pieces. So I'm going to hang on to those for just a little bit. So that is going to be our back die. Now I'm going to get a piece of foil. And I do want to use my Coastal Cabana. And I feel that 3 inches is a little bit too wide. So with this, I'm a little bit pickier. So I'm going to go 2 3/4. I'm stingy with this paper. So it's 2 3/4. We want to use our other die, which is this one right here. Now, you know, my plates, as you can see, my acrylic plates are really marked up, and I don't like getting markings on my foil papers. So what I do is I just take a piece of copy paper or scrap paper that I have laying around, and I put it on the top. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper. And I think I'm going to be using the same one that I just used underneath. And I only need a 3-inch piece about, so I'm just tearing it. This is going to avoid getting those lines on your foil paper. I know some of you have said that you've had troubles with that, and the pieces that you don't, that are left over, and you were wondering how to keep that from happening. So that is how you keep it from happening. Let's get these in there. And you're going to see now, I am not going to go all the way through. I'm going to feel when I'm done, and then I'm going to go back again. I always go back and forth when I have dies, especially when I have intricate dies. Okay, my paper is fine. Look at this. My foil paper is not marred up at all from my cut up plates. And see how easily all that falls out? So easy. And look how gorgeous this is. Oops. This one is not coming out there. I got a couple pieces that are still in there. It's not that they're stuck. I just can't push them out. So we have those two pieces. So I'm going to put that piece in my die, in my little contraption that I keep my dies in. Let's move our machine out of the way. So as you can see, this is going to go up here. Oops, maybe it's the other way around, and that's okay. I don't care. So you can place them either way. I may be cutting this off because I don't know if I want that squared end on that piece. So let's move all our pieces out of the way here so I can get my card and my pieces to my card together. So far we have this, and I am going to want this on here. Okay, so we're going to be attaching this. So this is where you can decide. And this is squared with my die, which is okay. And it's okay that those are up. And I wanted to show you that it does not have to be straight up there. We could layer this on this way and let this be on the top. So that gives that some depth too. It just depends on if you want it really sparkly on the top. I kind of like the sparkly peeking out between the layers. It's kind of like the sunshine is, oh, this got inside there. How did I do that? Oh my gosh. How did I do that now? This has not happened to me yet. Oh, I see. That little end snuck in between there. You dirty dog. Okay. Okay, we got that untangled. Let's get this untangled and we're fine. So I am going to be putting that on my coastal cabana. Now you would get a different look if you use Pacific Point as your back piece. And I needed that back piece. I wanted it to be a little bit stronger. So I am just going to be putting some liquid glue, if I can get it out. You know, I was doing a project the other day and I couldn't get it out and I couldn't get it out. And it was like, really? Come on. I know you're in there. And all of a sudden it came flying out. I should have my silicone mat underneath here. Ooh, and I don't. And I'm just putting just a little bit on these waves. I want them on the end. I do not want these flying up. Like I said, I recommend using our self-adhesive sheets. So I'm going to put this right on here. And I might find that I need to put a little bit of glue towards the end here, and I do on these end pieces. So I can just turn this over. I just didn't want to go too far. And I am using up just about this whole thing here. I'm using up a lot more than I thought. Okay, so we're going to hold that on there for just a minute. So it holds. Just line it up. I'm going to turn it upside down and press. It's like a tangled necklace. Yeah, it is, Becky. You're right. Oh, you know, the necklace that I wear every day was given to me by my best friend years ago. And it's got this heart that floats along the chain. And it's always getting twisted. And I have to take it off to get it untwisted. And you wouldn't think so because it's only a heart. But for some reason, it doesn't wrap. It just kind of goes through the two loops of the heart. But when it gets tangled up, I can't seem to figure it out. And I'm scared my husband will break the chain. So I don't dare let him touch it. Okay, so we have that. I was looking for my, let's see if I only have about 6. Oh, well, I'm going to put this underneath so my surface doesn't get all full of glue. Okay, so now we want this piece. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to run some dots of liquid glue on here. And dang, I was so upset. I'm sure I gave that adhesive away, my extra pack, because I had done a class and it was a gift. It was one of the prizes. Okay, this is not coming out now. So my fingers are going to get really sticky. Let me try this. There we go. Okay, so it's started. It's primed. And I forgot all about giving that away as a prize. So you don't want much glue on here because you don't want it squirting out of the edges. It doesn't matter if it's all stuck completely down. We do want some motion in the sea, and we don't want seasickness. We don't want that much motion, but we do want a little bit of motion in our wave swirl. And just put a little bit, and I'm going to go almost all the way to the end because I really didn't cut that much off. I guess it's only like 1.25 inches difference, and really it doesn't go from end to end if it was a 5.5 inch. Okay, so now we can play with this a little bit because we can snip off the pieces that we don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay this on there so you guys can see if I just laid it on there straight so they lined up what it would look like. And look at that. Do you see that glimmer of that water? So we're going to cut this off here right at the end. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. So that is going to be our second layer. Now I do want it, when it's folded, I do want that coming out just from the top of that. And we are putting something over here, so we don't have to worry. But if we line that up just like that, so it's just below the top, it's like perfect. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my tear-in tape, though, and line that up along the bottom. I want it something strong. I don't necessarily want to use my liquid glue because I don't want it spreading apart and then sticking our steps together. So here we go. And I am going to line that up just about at the top, just down a smidgen. You're not really going to see it. And I guess I cut this just a little bit short, but that's okay. So that is our second layer. So we have that like that. Okay, but we are going to do some things here. So I am going to grab some crumb cake. Okay. And we don't need much. We have an inch on there. So this piece is just about an inch. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to rip. Just tear, and it doesn't matter if it's straight, it's crooked. And I'm going to go all the way across on this because this is going to give me the flexibility of moving this back and forth here. So this is going to be like the beach. Now, if you see that wave came up and we have that little bit, but like I said, that's okay. We are going to be fixing that. So there is our beach. So I am going to take my Stampin' Seal and run that right along the bottom. Oops. There we go. Let's get it started. I'm running it right along the bottom. And then we are going to put this piece right on there. And then let's trim it off. Oh, it's getting caught in my sweater. Now, I wouldn't say that this would be a beginner's card. I would really lean towards a mediocre card for you. So we've got that. So it's the beginning of our stamp, our stepping up. Let me get my adhesive off of here. Now, I went ahead and pre-cut the stork on the pillars. Or it's not a stork, it's a oh my gosh, I said stork, so stork's just gonna be in my mind. You know what they're called? Tell me what they're called. But I love when I go to Florida with my sister-in-law and we watch these birds sitting on the wood and stuff and the piers coming out. Now I am using the gray granite ink for this. So what I want to do is I want to ink up my stamp, put it on here. Now I am going to line up. Oh, I perhaps want that up higher because I left a big bottom on there. So let's move this up higher. I don't want this all over my fingers. You can just put it anywhere on here. Let me clean this off. Let's ink it up again. Pelican, that's it. Pelican. Awesome, Janet. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys. Seagulls and pelicans. Pelican is what I was thinking though. And somebody, oh, Marilyn, you love my nails. Thank you. Yeah, my nail person wants to cut them. She goes, your nail's getting so long. And I says, yeah, I like long nails. So she told me next time you cut. It's like, okay, next time I cut. So I think next time I go in, I'm going to have to cut them, which is okay. They grow back. It's kind of like hair, I figure. Okay, so I line that up to my stamped image. Now I'm going to take my die cut. I'm putting my die cut in there. And then we're going to go ahead and ink up our stamp really good. And put this guy on there. Okay. So you have him. Let's remove this. I keep this in my stamp set, so I always have that die. So how many of you do that with your die cuts and your punches? We're going to use this pelican again in just a minute. I love doing that. It saves on your paper. Okay, I've got the I don't want Cajun Craze. Cajun Craze. I don't want Cajun Craze. I have the light pumpkin pie. And I am just going to do this pelican's beak. So just very lightly, and his feet here. Just a little bit. It's going to be just about all the color we have on here. Now, I'm going to want to set him here. Okay, but I'm not going to put him on yet because we have our piece that goes on the inside of our card. And that is a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white. Okay, and this is going to go just like this. Now, when this is closed, I want another pelican back here. Okay, so I want him there, so I'm going to want him down here. So I want this one about right here. So I am just going to hold that. Oh, look at, I grabbed two pieces. And so I'm going to take a look at my Stamparatus. And I like putting these all the way down at the outside. So I'm just going to hold that just like that. So I know I'm going to want my pelican in this area. So I am just, and it's okay if they overlap a little bit. I want him here and along this line here. Okay, so I know where I want him. So I want him there and there. So I am going to take my stamp off my Stamparatus. How many of you love your Stamparatus? You know, I love it for more than just stamping. I like it for this kind of things too. I'm going to put my magnet on this right now because I lost my wipe, my chamois. Oh, I'm just going to grab a baby wipe. I know I put it to the side someplace where it wouldn't affect my paper because if you're like me, I always put it down, but I put it where my paper is going to be, and then my paper gets damaged. Okay, so we have that. So I know I want my pelican in this area. So I'm going to take it out. My eyes are looking at the area that I want it. I'm going to line it up right here. I put it here. I am going to take this and see, yep, it's in far enough. I could go in just a little bit farther, which I'm going to do because it doesn't matter if we see the whole thing on the front. There we go. Just make sure he's straight up and down. Okay, so we are going to stamp another one of them onto the inside of the card. And at the same time, I want to stamp a seagull. So I want my seagull to be over here in this corner. And we'll probably do a couple, well, you know what? I'm just going to do that with a block. My fingers are full of glue and they're all sticky. So I'm kind of enjoying doing an extra live here tonight. How many of you were surprised to see that I was going to be on? And I know for Xana, it's morning over there. They're morning time. She's an early riser. There we go. So this one's a little bit darker than the other one, and that's a-okay. I am going to take my stamp, my little seagull stamp. So here we have seagulls and pelicans. So we are going to stamp a couple of them. You know, those things fly all over the place, don't they? Another one right there. Oh, they're kind of bumped into each other. So have them swarming around, right? Okay, so we have, that's the card I'm going to show you later. I don't want to show you yet. Oh, so this is going to stick on the inside. And look at that, how perfect that is. So awesome. Let's color his beak and his feet also. And you may wonder why I sometimes use the broad tip. I like to use the broad tip on fine things like this, but this one is getting really used. So that's why I use the other tip, the bullet point before. Oh, you know what? I should have gone and put my verse in here. And the verse I want to put is, your strength is an inspiration. I think that I love that verse. So let's get that one. And I am going to do that. You know, I may not be using the Pacific Point now that I've started. You know, I never know what I'm going to actually do when I'm doing it until I actually get it done. But I am going to use the Pacific Point for my verse. I'm going to use a smaller block too. You know, this is another hint for you guys. You don't want to use any bigger of a block than you have to with your stamps. You get a better stamped image. So let's get our Pacific Point. And your strength is an inspiration. And we are going to put it at an angle right up there, just even pressure, just like that. I think that's going to be perfect. We've got this guy. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit Stampin' Seal. We're going to go ahead and put him down here. Oh, I could actually do another one, I think, but I think 2 is enough. And as I'm looking here now, I am seeing that I have a little bit of white here, and I want a little bit of C there. So I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to remove this from this block, and I'm going to move it over. Okay, because what I want to do now is I don't necessarily need that whole wave. I just want some flat where the water is coming in to the land. So we want more of this showing on this part. So we are going to go ahead and ink that up. And I need to get, look at, I got another piece of scrap paper here. I'll tell you about this in a minute. So, you know, it's a piece that I've stamped on before. Okay, so we want this, and we want this all the way to the edge and up just a little bit. So let's just put that just like that. So we have rolling waves. You know how when the waves come in the ocean, they're kind of rolling and not all at the same place. And oh, I didn't ink that up very good. So just ink that part up. There we go. And look at that. Boy, I lucked out there. So we have that. Now I have a spot that I can write in here. I could also do a couple layers here, but I like that it's open like that. We have the ocean there. We've got some ocean down here, and we've got some open space there. Okay, so we do have our little rhinestones here. So I am going to, I don't think I need rhinestones because I just like that foil in there. So let me grab my embellishments from the mini catalog. And we've got the pebbles, and we have the sea glass. So which do you think we could put in here? I think we could put a little bit of both. So I think around here, we're going to go ahead and use these pebbles. I absolutely love these pebbles. I've used them, you know, you can use them in garden scenes, in road scenes, in ocean scenes. We're going to go towards our browns. Whoops. Okay. My tacky is out. So let's get this on here. We're going to put this one here. I'm going to grab a bigger one here. And yeah, this one's going to be a gray one. And I'm going to put that one right here. And let's get another brown one. We'll just get a smaller one. And just kind of do a pile up of them. And here's a lighter gray one that we'll use right here. Let's use a smaller dark one here. And then let's use a big dark brown one here. Okay, so we've got those there kind of piled up at the bottom there, but I want to use some sea glass. I love the sea glass. And oh, you know, we have the Sailing Home stamp set is great with the lighthouse. And the other images in that stamp set would be great with this also. Okay, so we're just going to speckle a couple sea glass here. Let's just put, let's do the skinny one. Speckle it on our beach, right? How many of you have found sea glass when you go to the beaches? I never have. Okay, we're just going to put this one up there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have odd numbers. So there we go. Here is our step card. It's going to stand up just like this. Okay. In the envelope, just like this. You could add a couple rhinestones in here, but I have left myself some space to write in here. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you are so excited for this collection to come out in March. And now here, I'm going to show you my swap card. This is my swap card that I made. So, this is a little glary. Let me see. There. Not so glary. So this is the swap card. I just used some designer series paper. I used the painted, what is it called? Painted texture embossing folder and some ink on it. And I used some of the rhinestones from the collection. And then I did the inside of the card also. So here's 2 card ideas for you with this collection. I hope you enjoyed it. So oh my gosh. So Marilyn says the pebbles are some of her favorite embellishments. I totally agree. I have used them a lot. In fact, I think this is like my 5th package of them. Not that I haven't used them, right? And Becky says her friend lives on a lake and finds it sometimes that's interesting. I wish I could find that. And then they have sea beads. I learned about sea beads when I went to the Keys last year with my brother or 2 years ago with my brother and sister-in-law. And one of the campers there, they camp all winter at the campsite. And she goes out looking for sea beads every day. And she explained to us where to find them, when to find them. And she says, after a while, after you look on the beach and stuff, you get to learn the currents and where you're going to find them. And she says they come from, all over the world. So she actually gave me a sea bead, and I've got that upstairs by my jewelry box. So I treasure that and stuff. So, and Janet, you like the card. Thank you so much. So I'm happy you guys like this. So this is what it looks like standing up. So you've got that wave in the background, and you've got your pebbles and your sea glass and your pelicans, and we have seagulls. So until we meet again, everybody, happy stamping.